Hey everyone, this cap right here is a low profile version of New Era's 5950 fitted cap. I have a standard version on my head right now, and many of the caps behind me are a standard version. What happened was I've had this for 5 or 6 years, and it's been one of my favorite caps when I want a little lower silhouette. I purchased another one, which is actually on the shelves behind me. It's the Seattle Mariners City Connect cap. And I noticed some distinct differences in the overall crown shape and silhouette. And it led me to kind of ask the question, is New Era messing around with the silhouette on the low profile a little bit? So hello again, my name is Doug, and that low profile 5950 is what I wanted to take a look at today. I got this in probably 2018 or so, and really liked it right away because there's a pretty obvious rise in the crown before it starts to curve. And what I found was it still gave me a little bit of volume above my forehead. Very comfortable cap. I did have to do some trimming on the inside of the sweatband. That was a separate comfort issue that I covered in a different video at that time. But really, it's been a good cap, and I haven't bought a lot of low profile caps, but I do sometimes look at it if the design seems to lend itself to that. Which brings me to this Seattle Mariners cap, which when I started, it was on the shelf behind me, but now you can see up here, it's just got a little bit more severe crown. And that's what led to my initial question that I started with was, wow, it seems like I've got a lot less volume in this cap, and that curve starts really quickly, even from the front angle and the sides here. It just doesn't seem to have the same kind of rise before starting the curve, and it feels like it's raked back on my forehead when I put it on. So I was just trying to think, whoa, has New Era really messed around with the formula for the low profile? Or is it potentially just the normal variation that we've come to expect from New Era caps? When I compare this to a 3930, specifically the front two panels on a 3930, or maybe even 940, a 6-panel version of the 940, these front two panels with the buckram, these on this Mariners cap look a lot more like the two panels on a 3930 or a traditional 940 cap. So they could be utilizing the same patterns and the same fabric cuts for the low profile 5950 these days. Now that's just my speculation based on how these caps both fit for me, but I would not be surprised if that were the case. Overall, it makes sense for a manufacturer the size of New Era to reuse patterns from multiple caps, because that way they're not creating as many unique instances of fabric patterns. And then secondly, it probably makes sense for a low profile cap like this to take advantage of less waste in the pattern creation process. So if there's a smaller pattern that drives less consumption of fabric, that's actually a cost savings for New Era. So those are the many reasons why I think it's not too far-fetched to believe that maybe they switched to using the same patterns from a 3930 or a 940 to make the low profile 5950 fitted. I believe I've got a couple more data points on this whole thing that I've been observing. I've got a Detroit Lions low profile that I believe is of the smaller variety, so it's got a lower silhouette and the crown curvature starts really quickly coming out of the visor. On the other hand, I've got a Detroit Tigers Oceanside Blue low profile 5950. Now both of these were purchased around 22, 23, and I would say that Oceanside Blue Tigers cap has a little bit more volume in the crown. Maybe not quite as much as that Phillies cap that I showed at the start of the video. And you know, from a trend perspective, dad caps and that lower silhouette always seem to be at a certain level of popularity in terms of sales on the sites that I observe. So I would not be terribly surprised if that low profile, if they kind of doubled down on the low silhouette and made it even a little bit smaller than they were years ago. So it's really tough to tell what's going on. A lot of this is just speculation and observation from the caps that I have. And I would say on a personal level, I still prefer the standard for many reasons. But when I want to go to the low profile is usually when I'm wearing my beard a little bit shorter, just because the standard crown gets a little disproportionately large compared to my face when I don't have a beard at this length or longer. So that's usually my choice. I do have 3930s and low profiles around for those kinds of occasions. And sometimes I just like a lower silhouette anyway, so I'll throw those on. Now, oddly enough, I had never seen a low profile offered in anything but a standard fitted. But for the first time this year, at rallyhouse.com, I actually saw a low profile version of a 950 snapback, and that happened within the 2024 Clubhouse collection. For the teams that Rally House normally carries, probably based on their geographic areas where they've got brick and mortar stores, there was a number of variants of the Clubhouse collection caps as a snapback in a low profile. So, but other than that, I would just say the best thing you can do for checking if a low profile is right for you, especially the way they're constructed in the modern way, is to try and find a store that has some low profiles in stock, even if it's not a team or design that you're particularly interested in. At least you could get into the store, try it, get a feel for the silhouette, and see if that's something that is right for you if you've not gotten one of these before. Now, down below the description, I've got plenty of links for some of my best videos that teach you how to stretch, shrink, otherwise edit and maintain all your caps. So check those out if you're further interested. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.